Here's something you might do commonly. Let's figure out the total purchase price for an item, including the sales tax. But let's throw a twist in here. Let's suppose there's a regular sales tax of 4.5%, but there's also a luxury tax for items that cost $50,000 or more. The government figures, hey, if you can afford something that costs $50,000, we can charge you a little more tax on that. So it'll be 8.5%. And let's hope they don't apply this to houses. So we've got a spreadsheet here, and we want to calculate the tax that we'll pay and the total that our bill will be on items of various prices, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, whatever. So we're going to need an if function. Because we've got two different tax rates, we only use one or the other depending on the condition of our price. So let's get out an if function. If, and it's based on price, that's what we need to test. If the price is less than $50,000, okay? And remember, don't put a comma in big numbers in a formula, because if I put a comma, the if function is going to think, oh, the test is whether A6 is less than 50, and the rest of the stuff is something else. It won't recognize that. So you have to type 50,000 all together, no comma. If the price in A6 is less than $50,000, then let's take the value in A6 and multiply it by the appropriate tax rate, which in this case will be B2, the 4.5%. If it's not less than 50,000, if it's equal to or greater than 50,000, say I put a comma here, then I'm going to take A6 times the other tax rate, the luxury tax rate of 8.5%, which I'll represent as cell B3. Notice I want to refer to the cell, not the percentage. Put a parenthesis there, and I get a tax amount of $450. And if you think about it, that makes sense. $10,000, 4.5% of that, yeah, $450. That looks good. Now, let me go back to that formula because I left out some references. I'm going to fill this down. You know, if I type a formula, I'm going to fill it down the next step. To fill down, I need to lock in the references. Because if I fill down right now, oh, I get messy. Look at that. I goofed up. I'm paying $170 million in taxes on a $100,000 purchase. Something's very wrong there. Let's see what's wrong. Aha. Look at the cells that highlights now. It's trying to take tax rates from B6 and from B7. From these two cells. That's nuts. It's taking the amount, $100,000, and multiplying it by 1,000. Whoa, that's bad, bad, bad for taxes. So, we better undo that. I'll hit Control Z. Let's go back to that formula. We need an absolute reference. For the tax rate, we always want to look at cell B2, no matter where we are, no matter where this formula fills down. So we get those dollar signs. Dollar sign B, dollar sign 2. Lock it in to cell B3. There, now it'll always look at that. Let's try again. Those numbers look more reasonable. We look down at 100,000. Okay, 8.5% of 100,000. Yeah, 8,500. That makes some mathematical sense. Now let's check the boundary condition, the number right in the middle. 50,000 is where the tax rate should change. 4,250. You can check with your calculator to see if that's really 8.5%. But what I like to do is this. I'm going to put a slightly smaller number, $49,000. What happens over in my cell now here? Ooh, it drops a lot to 2,205. If I go right up to the edge, 49,999. My sales tax is 2,250. If I go up $1, my sales tax, if it stayed steady, shouldn't go up a lot. But since I'm going up $1 to the new tax bracket, I should see a big jump if my formula is working. Pow! And that was a big jump of $2,000. So I think my formula is working. Good deal. Let's find the total now. The total bill that we're going to pay is going to be the item cost plus the tax. Now, I've only got two numbers here, so I can just use a plus sign. If I really wanted to do a sum, I could go sum of A6 to B6, just like that. Either way, I don't care if you go plus or sum. Either way it works. We fill that down, Control D, and there we get the total amount that you would pay on the taxes. Now, one note. Back here in the taxes, I made a big deal about using a cell reference. You might have been thinking, well, good grief, why do I have to worry about that? Why can't I just put 4.5% for the tax and 8.5%? Why can't I just put my rates in there and not worry about a cell reference? Well, that'd be okay. And you could fill down, and I think the numbers, yep, they'd all stay the same. I've changed the formula now. It's got the 4.5%, 8.5%. That's great. But the problem is, maybe you see this coming. What if the tax rate changes? Suppose the government revises that. They say, oh, you know, charging that much tax is a bad idea. Let's cut that luxury tax to 6.5%. Okay. I can change it up there, but now, oh no, I've got to go back and change that now in every one of these formulas from 6.5 to 8.5. And if I don't remember every place I put that formula, it might not work. So I'm going to back up. I'm going to undo what I did. Put my formulas back to the original cell references. I just undid. Now I'm back to my cell references. I've got my good old B2, B3 in there. See that? Now, I change my tax rate to 6.5% and watch the values down here to see what happens. Poof! Everything changes automatically. All I did was change one number. That's the real value of using a cell reference. When I use a cell reference in that formula, heck, it'll work for the others too. Suppose they drop the sales tax here down to 3.5%. Oops, 5%. Hey, now those numbers changed. All thanks to the fact that I used cell references instead of numbers. If I really wanted to jazz this formula up, I could make a cell here that would reference the amount, $50,000. Make that look like dollars there. I'll drop the decimal point. Oops, missed one. There we go. Stop that. There we go. All right. Now, instead of referencing $50,000, I could reference that boundary condition. If it's less than, let's see, that's in A4. So I'm going to go $A, $4. And now the formula changes. The amount that comes out is still the same, but I'm referencing a cell, which is great because now, well, these are going to be messy. I'll still have to change those, but I can change this number. Let's say we drop the luxury amount to $40,000 or to $15,000. Watch what happens in the 20,000 row down here. Whoop, that raises the tax. Or let's boost the luxury tax up. Let's say luxury, we're going to say that's actually $75,000. Watch what happens in these two rows here. Great, automatically changes. Doing a cell reference in your formulas can save you a lot of time later on if your data changes. So make use of cell references wherever you can in your formulas. It'll make life a lot better. Enjoy!